This is your daily dose of all things royal. Welcome back, my gorgeous, good-looking friends. Breaking news, folks. Meghan and Harry have lost their 11th publicist. Now, why do we care about this? We don't. It's all about distraction and controlling the narrative. Classic misdirection. I'm going to ask you to sit tight and hang with me throughout this video, because at the end of this video, your jaw is going to drop. But before I forget, if you could do the kid a favor, hit that like button, because we do want this particular video to get picked up by the algorithm, and you'll see why. Okay, so getting back to this news, there's definitely a reason why they're doing this. Let's apply some good old-fashioned common sense and logic. So suddenly, every tabloid and gossip site is breathlessly reporting that Harry and Meghan have lost their 11th publicist, dutifully recycling the same tired lines about Meghan being a dictator in heels, a ruthless bully, and blah, 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 blah. Yet somehow, in all these years, no one has ever held her properly accountable. No lawsuits filed against her, no damning leaks from disgruntled staff, just endless anonymous sources repeating the same script. Don't get me wrong, I still think Meghan Markle is a genuinely awful, manipulative goblin, but a lot of these stories feel suspiciously convenient, like deliberate red herrings dropped to keep the spotlight pointed in a safe direction. Let's go ahead and slice through this propaganda for a second. How often do we see splashy headlines announcing that yet another staffer has quit working for the Prince and Princess of Wales? Almost never, right? The departures happen quietly and certainly without a coordinated media blitz. Did you know that the Whales also have a somewhat high turnover? They have people too that come and go for various reasons. Do we see this type of announcement? No, we don't. And half the time, we don't even know about it. Now, look at this latest publicist exodus story. Which outlets are pushing it the hardest? It's the exact same ones Harry and Meghan have had on speed dial for the last 7 years. The very ones that have reliably parroted their narrative, no questions asked. This is not a coincidence. This is coordination. Pure strategic messaging for positioning what is coming in 2026. So according to what was reported in The Sun, Meredith Maines will not be replaced as CCO. UK and Europe Director of Communications, Liam Maguire, will instead step in as lead. This right here is the clue that is telling us what's going to happen in 2026. Does everybody remember this purposely leaked photo of the King's press secretary, Tobin Andre, with Meredith Maines and Liam Maguire, who lives in the UK? So now if you remember back in July this year, this was being reported as some type of secret peace summit in which the three of these PR people were getting together to talk about the first step towards reconciliation for Harry and his father. And I remember back in July, I was thinking this is so blatantly staged to set the narrative of Harry going back home in 2026. And here we are now at the end of 2025, and Meredith Maines is leaving, even though they're positioning the narrative of the Harkles being really difficult to work with, and Liam Maguire will be taking over. But when you look at this picture, you have Liam Maguire sitting there with Tobin Andre, and I think that this was part of the plan. I don't think that the palace has been separated from what the Harkles have been doing this whole entire time. They have been in lockstep in carrying out these narratives so Harry can get back home. And here you have Liam Maguire, who, by the way, does anybody know anything about who this Liam Maguire is? Well, let me tell you. What's not being reported is Liam's relationship with Prince Harry and being a veteran. He is currently a trustee for the Limbless Veterans, and his bio says that Liam was educated at the University of Wales. And it says here he spent 2 years as a parliamentary aide before leaving to join the British Army. While at the Royal Military Academy Sandhurst, Liam suffered a severe back injury leading to an eventual medical discharge. Upon leaving the Army, Liam joined the Royal British Legion's PR team, where he was responsible for the charity's high-profile Poppy Appeal. He left the Legion in 2010 and spent the next 2 years working in corporate, crisis, and government relations in the Middle East before returning to the UK in 2012 to pursue a career in journalism. In 2014, Liam joined the small team brought on board by Prince Harry to help establish and set up the Invictus Games and supported the same team at the 2018 Games in Sydney. Liam drove the PR and earned media relations behind Sentabali's Feel No Shame campaign and supported the HIV/AIDS not-for-profit with 2 high-profile charity concerts. For the last 10 years, Liam has been with the Good Relations VCCP group, and in that time helped establish the firm's first U.S. office in New York. Over the last decade, he has supported organizations such as the Halo Trust, MAG International, the Royal Caribbean Group, Royal British Legion Industries, the 2018 There But Not, their World War I Sanitary Tomies campaign, and the Holocaust Educational Trust. In 2022, he won and led the PepsiCo account, and in 2025, left the VCCP group to work more closely with cause-driven organizations and people like Prince Harry. So from what I gather, he is now independent and more than likely working solely for Prince Harry, because I can only assume that doing PR for Harry and Meghan is a full-time job. But where they are positioning him makes sense, because who is going to probably be seen in the UK a lot more in 2026? That would be Prince Harry. And the excuse is going to be because of the Invictus Games. And who's going to be the one helping Prince Harry with the Invictus Games is going to be this guy. They already have started to phase Meghan out. Meghan is putting her foot down, or the narrative is that she's never going to step foot back on UK soil and will probably hold those children hostage. And here we have another set of narratives that they're going to throw at us to keep us distracted, while the real things that we should be focused on get neglected, like the corruption with Archwell and the censorship stuff, as well as other things I'm sure that people don't know about yet, but soon will. They're setting all of this up to be the perfect smokescreen for Harry to go back home without embarrassment. It's not going to matter, though, because the truth is coming out. The train has left the station, if you know what I mean. So ignore what's being said about Meghan being a bully all day long. Is anybody going to be doing anything about it? Or is Meghan going to be held accountable? No. This is just misdirection and distraction. They really are setting Harry up to go back home. Which now brings me to this article that was printed in Radar Online and is being seen in other tabloids here in the United States, like this one here in Globe magazine. Now I'm going to read you parts of this article because I have on good authority that what they're talking about here has some truth to it. Now, I've been told by a trusted and reliable source that Harry is just completely fed up with Meghan. And part of this mouthing off about President Donald Trump is to get him deported back to Britain to permanently get away from this woman. Says here, the California-based Duke of Sussex, 41, twice poked the presidential bear, starting with a train wreck appearance on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. During a skit about holiday films that ultimately triggered boos and groans from the audience, Harry quipped about the U.S. "I heard you elected a king." Days later, during a meeting of the British American Business Council in Santa Monica, the smart aleck royal again risks incurring the Prez's wrath by taking a cheap crack at Trump's strict border crossing policies, while gushing over England's and Scotland's soccer teams participating in the World Cup in LA. He said, "Next year, I know we are looking forward to welcoming more Brits from across the pond, provided they behave and if they make it through customs and pass ice." Royal insiders believe Harry, who entered the U.S. on a visa, may be purposely railing against Trump, knowing the no-nonsense commander-in-chief can send him packing, especially after the public's questions about whether the former party-hardy prince lied about his illicit drug use when applying to enter America. Royal expert Hilary Fordwich spoke to the Globe and said, "If Harry's home life is as unpleasant as we've seen, this may be a deliberate attempt to get deported. It's entirely possible." King Charles's youngest son and former Suits star Meghan left their UK palace duties in 2020 to chase lucrative Hollywood deals. But some royal watchers have noted that at times the couple has appeared to be living separate lives and wonder whether Harry may be angling to bolt back to Britain. What's more, after months of behind the scenes negotiations with his father, the UK Home Office and the Royal and VIP Executive Committee are conducting a new security risk assessment, which could open the door for Harry to return home with his children. He's secretly begging his father to take him back, says a palace source. And then the question becomes, what's Meghan to do? She's spiraling. Harry had seemed to be skating on thin ice, but in February, Trump gave the Duke a reprieve while taking a vicious swipe at the Duchess. Trump said at the time, "I'll leave him alone. He's got enough problems with his wife. She's terrible." Now, courtiers think the only way Harry can save face and leave his allegedly toxic home environment in Montecito is to goad Trump into tossing the prince out of the country and leave his high-maintenance spouse behind. If you look at both of them, their individual trajectories, what is she doing? Asked Fordrich. She's building her brand. She's building her show. She'll go back on social media. He wants to have protection in the UK. They're going in two completely different and opposite directions. Yeah, I think it's becoming increasingly obvious that Harry and Meghan really are now just a business relationship, and Harry is just carrying out his contractual duties. That's my opinion. Getting Harry back home now is really about mitigating the amount of PR damage that's going to come to the institution. Yeah, I do believe that Harry is trying to accelerate getting back to the UK, and rather than just picking up and leaving Meghan altogether and looking like the asshole, he'd rather make Donald Trump look like the asshole and him become the victim, saying, "See, I didn't just leave my wife, I got deported and I can't come back." These are all narratives that are being put out there to manage the situation of the real stories that are going to start to surface. Stories that we've been talking about this whole entire time on this channel. All this other crap that we are being fed is just noise. Anyone notice how dead silent the Markles have been? They came in, dominated the headlines, saturated the media just to keep Meghan's name in the headlines, and then boop, not a peep. But now, since there really is no activity with Harry and Meghan, we then get another article like clockwork by Thomas Markle Sr., or, Caroline Graham, chief propagandist for the Markle family. Isn't it funny that Thomas Markle wants everybody to know about his prosthetic leg, but has nothing to say about Meghan claiming that Doria raised her for 10 years? You would think that this would be something that he would have his chief propagandist put out in challenging the claims being made. But here these people are, whoever they are, being silent. They could squash this whole thing, but they choose not to. That should tell you enough in what we are dealing with. Anyway, since we're on the theme of people leaving Harry and Meghan because they're so difficult to work with, let's go all the way back to the beginning and talk about Heather Wong for us to really decide, did they leave because these two are so unbearable, or was it because of something else? Heather Wong began her time with the royals in 2016 as Prince Harry's personal secretary. Now, what I would like to know is, how did this American get this job as Prince Harry's personal secretary? As noted from Hello magazine, dated December 2nd, 2017, literally a few days after Harry and Meghan announced their engagement, it says here, fans may have had all eyes on Prince Harry and Meghan Markle during their first joint outing in Nottingham on December 1st, but they also couldn't help but notice the woman who was by Meghan's side throughout the day. Prince Harry's personal secretary, Heather Wong, was on double duty as she assisted the royal couple during their day out. Heather, who is said to have been working with the prince for the last year, was first spotted during the couple's walkabout, holding on to the Suits actress purse. So, given that this article was written on December 2nd, 2017, that would mean that Heather Wong had been working with Prince Harry throughout 2017. Now, what this article purposely chooses not to mention is that Heather Wong worked for the Obama administration. I'm willing to bet that many of you didn't know that, especially the position that she served within the Department of Homeland Security. You know, DHS, the one that was pushing back on giving any information on Harry's visa. Yeah, that department. This is a person who just so happens to get a job as the personal secretary to Prince Harry right as he's dating Meghan Markle. But hold on. Heather Wong stays with the couple into Megxit and actually helped with Megxit. What are the odds of having someone who is working for you that actually came from inside the division where you need to make sure that your immigration papers fly through successfully and then gets put on the board of Harry's travel list? So you notice here that it says her residence is the United Kingdom, not the United States, even though she is American. She was appointed this position in April of 2020 and then resigned at the beginning of 2021. And just like what they've done with Meredith Maines, Heather Wong also got the full court press of this announcement that she was leaving. But there appears to be more to this than meets the eye. You see, Heather Wong joins Travelist just in time for the 2020 election. And what do we see that has been captured on record are substantial Biden campaign donations. Here is one for $5,600, and we know that this is the right Heather Wong because it says the employer is Travelist. The other thing that's fishy here is that Heather Wong has listed she's living in Washington, D.C. when we know that she was living in the U.K. and has listed her residence as the U.K. So we have this donation for $5,600. Then you have two more donations for almost $3,000 a pop given to the Biden campaign. It's almost $12,000 being given to the Biden-Harris campaign. But then when you look at her history, she didn't give any money to the Hillary Clinton campaign. And the amounts that she gave to Obama don't even come close to the amounts that she gave for the Biden-Harris campaign in 2020, which leads me to believe that this money might have come from a very wealthy prince. Now, I haven't scrubbed through this database, but just on the surface and finding this, it leads me to believe that there is more weirdness in these campaign donations tying right back to Prince Harry and Meghan. If indeed this money that Heather Wong so generously gave to the Biden-Harris campaign did in fact come from Prince Harry, because, hey, why would you keep Heather Wong on and have her sit there to do nothing and then leave right after the election? Anyhow, if indeed this money did come from Prince Harry, then this is another example of what foreign election interference looks like. Now you can understand why Prince Harry is so desperate to go back home. There's a lot more to this story than what we are currently being told, so keep your eyes open and stay alert, and don't get caught up in the noise and bullshit that's being peddled right now. But anyhow, what do you guys think? Definitely leave your thoughts below. As always, I will be back with more content, but until then, please be safe, and I'll talk to you later. Bye!
Such a fraud.